A man must conquer his mind. The greatest war zone on earth is exactly 24 inches wide. It is the distance between your left and right ear. You spend your entire life preparing for external battles, fighting for a better job, fighting for more money, fighting against the people who doubted you or walked away from you. You look outside yourself for the enemy, pointing fingers at your circumstances, your upbringing, or your lack of luck. But you are fighting the wrong war. The entity that is currently destroying your potential doesn't live outside your house. It doesn't sleep under a different roof. It sits in your chair. It wears your clothes, speaks with your voice. Every single time you hit the snooze button, every single time you choose to cheat a meal over your health, and every single time you delay the work that needs to be done, you're being actively defeated. You're not stuck because you lack opportunity. You're stuck because you're a casualty of your own impulses. You have allowed your emotions, your comfort, and your passing moods to dictate your actions. You're running a multi-million-dollar machine on commands of fragile, undisciplined child. The truth is simple, brutal, and entirely non-negotiable. Before you can ever hope to conquer your environment, before you can build an empire, a business, or a legacy, a man must first conquer his own mind. Modern society has socialized you to treat your mind like an innocent bystander. You are told to listen to your feelings. You're told that if you feel tired, you should rest. If you feel anxious, you should retreat. If you don't feel motivated, you should wait. We have built a culture that worships emotional states as if they are the absolute form of truth. But your feelings are highly unreliable compass. In fact, your mind is hardwired by evolution to do one specific thing: keep you safe, comfortable, and alive. It does not care about your greatness. It does not care about your bank account, your physique, or your legacy. It cares about your survival. And in 2026, survival is cheap. Survival means sitting on a couch, eating processed sugar, and consuming endless digital garbage. Your mind will actively lie to you to keep you in a state of low-level comfort. When you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," that isn't logical planning. That is your mind executing a survival mechanism to avoid the friction of growth. When you say, "I'm just not ready yet," that is a sophisticated defense system designed to protect you from the pain of failure. If you continue to treat your thoughts as your master instead of your employee, you will spend your entire existence costing on the terms of your weakest self. You must stop negotiating with the terrorists inside your own head. It is time to strip your feelings of their own voting power and establish an absolute dictatorship over your internal landscape. Conquering your mind is not a spiritual event. It is an architectural engineering project. You cannot change your psychology through your wishful thinking or empty affirmation. You need an operational protocol that forces the brain to submit to the will of the executive self. We achieve this through the 4 strict pillars of the audit system: isolate, interrogate, implement, and insulate. First, you must isolate the impulse. The primary reason you lose the battle against your mind is that you cannot separate yourself from your thoughts. When a thought enters your head saying, "I'm too tired to work today," you instantly internalize it as a fact. You become the thought. To conquer the mind, you must create a psychological buffer. You must step back and watch the thought arise without reacting to it. Think of your mind like a chaotic radar system. You must isolate the enemy aircraft the moment when it enters your airspace. When the urge to quit, to scroll, or to compromise appears, do not fight it immediately. Simply observe it. Say to yourself, "My brain is currently generating a comfort impulse." By naming it, you strip it of its mystery. You insulate the bug into the software. You realize that you're not the voice in your head. You are the one listening to it. And the one listening always has the power to override the signal. Once you have isolated the impulse, you enter the second phase. Interrogate the rationale. Your mind is an incredibly sophisticated lawyer. It will give you a highly logical, deeply poetic reasons for why it's okay to compromise just this once. It will never say, "You worked hard yesterday, you deserve a break," or "The market is bad right now anyway, while waiting is the smart move." You must put the rationale on the witness stand and cross-examine it without mercy.
Ask yourself, where does this thought lead me in 5 years? Is the decision being made by the man I am trying to build or the boy I am trying to leave behind? Look at the hidden cost of the excuse. Every single time you accept a soft lie from your mind, you're actively conditioning yourself to become a liar. You are eroding your own self-respect. Interrogate the excuse until it falls apart under the weight of total honesty. The third phase is to implement the physical override. This is where the battle is won or lost. Your mind will try to paralyze you through overthinking. It will create a loop of hesitation, analyzing how cold it is, how tired you are, or how long the task will take. The longer you sit still, the more power the excuse gains. You must bypass the cognitive loop through the immediate physical motions. Do not wait for your brain to agree with your goals. Move your body before your mind can mount a defense. If the alarm goes off, your feet must hit the floor before your brain can explain why 5 more minutes of sleep matter. If the blanket page is staring at you, your fingers must start typing nonsense just to break the freeze. Physical action alters neurological state by implementing immediate movement. You show your mind who holds the actual sovereignty. You train your brain to follow the body, not the other way around. Finally, you must insulate the system. Once you begin to master your internal voice, the external environment will attempt to reflect you. You will encounter people who are completely governed by their own unmanaged minds, people who live in constant states of reaction, distraction, and emotional chaos. If you do not insulate your mental architecture, their disorder will slowly seep into your headspace. Insulation requires you to build a protective wall around your mental standard. It means deciding beforehand what thoughts, energies, and voices are allowed to enter your orbit. You must retreat your focus like a high-security military installation. If a person, a media outlet, or a digital habit constantly triggers your lower impulses, you must eliminate it from your environment. You cannot build a clean life while keeping dirty compound inside your head. Insulate your standards until your discipline becomes automatic. The path of self-conquest is well mapped by men. The path of self-conquest is well mapped by the men who came before you. They did not possess different brains, they simply possessed a different relationship with their internal environment. Look at David Goggins. When he was 300 pounds, working a dead-end job, he didn't wait for the wave of positive emotions to change his life. He looked into the mirror, he called himself a coward, and forced his body to execute the work despite his mind screaming at him to stop. He didn't conquer the pavement, he conquered the voice that begged him to quit. Consider Kobe Bryant. The Mamba mentality was not an emotional hope system, it was an insulation protocol. He trained his mind to view physical exertion not as a reason to slow down, but as an indicator that the real training had just begun. He removed the option select from his vocabulary. These men understood that the world outside could never conquer them if the world inside was already under complete control. They made their minds their most lethal weapons rather than their heaviest chain. So let's stop looking at their light and let's turn the lens completely onto you. Let's have an honest conversation that you have been avoiding for months. Who is actually running your life right now? Is the version of you that has goals, dreams, and standards? Is it the version of you that has goals, dreams, and standards? Or is it just your mood? Is it your fatigue? Is it your craving for comfort? Look at your last 7 days. If your actions were a direct reflection of who is in charge, the verdict would be terrifying. You are being ruled by your lowest denomination. You talked about wanting financial freedom. You talked about wanting to build something real. But the moment your mind says, let's check the phone for a second, you obeyed like a servant. The second your brain said, we can do this tomorrow, you signed the contract for your own delay. You have allowed your mind to become playground for every cheap distraction and every lazy excuse that floats through your conscience. And you have the audacity to act surprised when your life doesn't change. You act confused about why you're anxious, why you're unfulfilled, and why you feel like you're running in place. You are unfulfilled because you know you are a hostage. You are a prisoner to your own lack of execution. You can fool your friends, you can lie to your family, you can project an image of control to the world, but you cannot cheat the quiet hours in the night. You know exactly how many times you surrendered this week without even putting up a fight. It is time to end the mutiny. Promises are cheap, and your mind uses them to buy more time for your laziness. Here is your next override command for the next 24 hours. Identify those tasks you've been avoiding all week because your mind told you it was too difficult, too boring, or too uncomfortable, and you're going to execute it today. When the thought inevitably arises telling you to stop, to pause, or to finish it tomorrow, you're going to isolate that thought, interrogate its weakness, and immediately double your pace. Do not wait for the feeling of motivation. Do not wait for a spark for motivation. Move your hand through your feet and force the mind to follow the momentum of the body. Stop being spectacular. Stop being a spectator in your own head. Take back the wheel. Conquer your mind or be conquered by it. Be conquered by it.